I have them read a script word for word. One of the sales guys was like, yeah, man, then he started talking about crypto. And I started talking about crypto. And I was like, you ain't making any money talking about crypto on the phone, bro. Your job is to sell. This guy looked at me in the face. He said, man, why don't you start your own business? Well, man, dude, like I'm going to make $650 this year. He looked me dead in the eyes. He said, making $650,000 a year is not that hard. I'm very open about it. Scientology, ton of courses on admin technology is what it's called, set up to how to run an organization, how to handle life, how to handle relationships, helped me out beyond belief.
All right, Chris, welcome to the pod today. Super excited to have you. You got a super unique story. I think a lot of people will get value from it. So before we even dive into that, let's just start with, what you help people do, and then how did you get into that? Because I think a lot of people can, it gives people a lot of hope, I think, hearing stories of how people start their business journey or career.
Yeah. So what I do is I have a staffing company and I place remote closers and appointment setters into businesses and help increase their sales by giving them proven sales reps.
Yeah. And like, how did you get into that? Like maybe talk a little bit about prior to starting this, because you started this, a year ago?
Like 7 months. Yeah.
7 months. Okay. So not even a year yet. So 7 months ago. So what were you doing before this? And then what gave you the confidence to take that leap of faith, so to speak?
Yeah, so right before I started it, I was working in a sales role and it was all phones, Zoom calls, and in-person events.
Right.
And just hardcore sales, amazing sales, made a ton of money.
Was it like, curious, when you were learning, was it super aggressive?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
it's great. It's great though.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I would rather someone be too aggressive than not aggressive enough. But and
let me just tap on the aggressive part. So there's two ways of doing it. There's like the aggressive, which is there's people in the space that are like, you can just tell like they just try to be extra hard. And then there's like the professional aggressive, where you can lean in and close the deal, and you can hard close in a way where the customer doesn't get mad.
Yeah.
And you do it in such a way where it's so easy for the customer to say yes, but you're hard closing them at the same time, but you're so professional that it's hard for them to say no.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know what you're saying. I just was telling you off camera, like we went to the ClickFunnels event and there's a lot of people there pitching, whatever, it's fine. And so, I've had pretty high level experience in sales because I did door-to-door sales for 9 months. I think that was the best teacher of sales for me. Yeah. And what's crazy though, at least for me, is I call it push pull, or I call it, push pull. And, for example, I'll say to you, like, I might say, hey, Chris, like, look, no pressure at all, but then I push, right? So it's like, I've noticed when you do that with people, they kind of ease up and then it gives you that space to push. But it's still like, it's in a way where you're kind of like, look, dude, this is what you need, but it's totally your call. It's your life, whatever. I at least noticed at the event, a lot of guys, like, they just push. And they would say stuff to me, and I'm thinking, I think it would work on maybe a lower level lead, but a higher level lead, I personally just think it pisses them off. Maybe it's just me. Because I just think, look, dude, like I've had a lot of experience in business, etc. Why are you trying to, they're trying to do almost fear-based selling. And it's like, dude, like I'm completely good on money, etc. So did you ever get taught, or maybe this is just good for the audience hearing, like, did you ever like learn to sell, hey, when it's a beginner, maybe you can push a lot harder, or when they're more experienced, or did you kind of train both the same way? And
yeah, so a little bit of both.
Okay.
The first way I learned was through just pounding hard. I'm a very aggressive guy, just naturally.
And in the beginning, I had no clue.
I just ask them to buy it. I don't do any fact finding. I don't need to know who they are, what their name is. I'm just gonna ask them to buy it over and over and over again.
Yeah, and just for the audience, you don't have to say exactly what it was, but what type of products were you selling?
Sales training, company events, company training, etc.
Cool. Okay. So like online education, online
courses, events, etc. Right? Okay. And you're talking to high level business owners or individuals that just want to grow and they're working a 9 to 5 and they want to step out, right?
Right.
And so, dude, when I started, like, I had nothing to lose, everything to gain. So
of course.
Every single call, man. I mean, I learned how to sell by like screaming at people on the phone. Like I was creating certainty by screaming at people. Not the best route to go at it, but
what would you be screaming? Like, for example?
Well, okay, so I'd be screaming the script. So I'd be installing certainty through yelling at them.
Sorry for so many questions. Was your script bulleted, or was it like word for word?
Word for word.
Okay, so it was word for word.
Yeah, word for word.
And then was that given to you by your managers, et cetera?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Okay. So word for word. And then all my companies, like my company that I have, and then also other companies that I work with, I have them read a script word for word.
Really?
Absolutely.
But so what happens if they get a different kind of cat on the call and he says something that's maybe takes them off script?
Yeah, that's a good point. So you answer the question or handle that concern, and then you go right back to the script.
Interesting. Because my take is like Jordan Belfort, for example, he's always like, you got to have a script, which I have, but my script is more bullet points and like, maybe for example, I'm not saying what you did is wrong. I mean, it could be the better way, but usually what I've found, at least in my experience, was that sales reps, like they would get so robotic because it was word for word. And I was like, dude, like this is kind of the structure. This is the bullet points, like tie your shoes. It's like, I don't really care how you tie your shoes. You just got to tie it. So I'm curious, like, what's your thoughts? Bulleted, like kind of like a script structure versus word for word. Obviously you did word for word. Have you ever done bulleted? And like, if you do word for word and you think it's better, why do you think it's better?
I've done both. And the one when I had a word for word script, I was way better on the phone. I mean, even for my business right now, when I'm making calls or I'm doing cold calls, I have a script right in front of me and I read it word for word for my own business.
That's interesting.
And I don't even need it, but I have it there just to have it.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, because there's predictability. So if I do get thrown off, I'm able just to freaking divert right back to the script.
Like I think the reason I did the opposite is the same reason. Is I was like, I just felt, hey, if they go off the script or the prospect and the sales reps is just like they're not thinking, because what I would find is like they're reading, they're not thinking. So then I felt it was hard for them to go back, but. On the same token, like what you're saying also makes sense. It's like, yeah, they throw me off, but then I pull them right back to the script. I guess the script would just have to be really good. It puts a lot of pressure on the script.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. I mean, for example, dude, one of my companies that I'm running right now, one of the sales guys was like, yeah, man, I stuck to the script today and it worked. And he was like, yeah, I'm good, man. And he goes, yeah, man. Then he started talking about crypto. And I started talking about crypto. And I was like, bro, your job is not to talk about crypto, bro. I'm like, dude, talking about crypto on the phone. He's like, yeah, I was thinking I was gonna talk about crypto with him to build more rapport. I'm like, bro,
nah.
you ain't making any money talking about crypto on the phone, bro. Your job is to sell.
Yeah, I used to think in sales, whatever they want to talk about or like delaying or, like before the price drops, like, okay, and you're gonna get this and this and this and this and the prices. But it just doesn't make a difference. And you're basically delaying the inevitable. Like they're still going to say no. And that took me a lot of reps though. Like I really had to go through reps and I said, if it has nothing to do with making a decision about the sale, it's a waste of time. Like it honestly is a waste of time. So anyways, that's interesting. Like I think that's interesting that you sold that way. And how many years have you sold that way?
3.5 years.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. Well, technically over 4.
And you had a lot of reps before you did this in sales because that's all you did all day, every day.
Yeah.
So you've been doing it for, I mean.
And I still do it today. So.
What was your experience before that?
I sold cars. So my first ever sales job was selling cars. Well, actually before that, I tried wholesaling houses.
So you've been in sales for a while.
For a little over 6 years.
And then you would just change different sales jobs, right?
Yeah. Well, I found car sales. One of my buddies was like, yo, this car dealership's hiring. I was unemployed at the time.
Okay.
And, dude, I just walked in and I just door knocked. I was like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm looking for a sales job. They're like, So I left, came back the next day, handed my application, no answer, no interview. I just showed up every single day. I'm like, hey guys, like, I need an interview. And then they interviewed me, started laughing in my face, but I got the job.
Wow.
And he's like, whatever, man, we'll give you a shot. It was a draw plus commission.
Okay.
So. Okay. Yeah, but I was only making like $3,000 a month, selling cars. I was also not taking it seriously. So that was another thing, man. I don't even know how.
What made you, okay, so if you weren't taking it seriously, what made you want to get into sales? Because, the thing for me is they promise riches and glory. They're like, oh, you're going to make so much money as a door-to-door salesman. And then, my dad would say, he's like, son, like, why aren't more people wanting to be door-to-door salesmen then? I was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Right. But then it was like, yeah, it's because it's freaking almost impossible to make a ton of money. For you, it's like, why did you do it?
Dude, I wanted something challenging. I wanted to
but
win.
You said you weren't taking it serious though. So did you take it seriously after?
I took it seriously once I moved to Miami. But before then, I was still in my hometown. I was still around the same people I was with. I was partying. I was 20 years old when I got into sales.
Yeah.
Like just
So it was that you wanted to improve, but it was kind of partially your environment, you think? Yeah,
exactly. Like I knew deep down inside that I could do a lot better. But it was my environment that I was in that was holding me back.
Where were you from?
I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so it's like even when I hear that, I'm like, bro, that's like no one. That's like no. Like I've been in Pennsylvania. It's like I think of trees.
Yeah, it's trees. It's a beautiful town. Like, it's a beautiful town. I love Erie, Pennsylvania. You know, shout out Erie. Like for real, man. I love Erie, Pennsylvania. My goal with like being down here is I want to freaking create a community in Erie. I literally want to build buildings in Erie and like improve the economy in Erie and like have jobs there.
That's dope. You know. Yeah, I mean, you're a very driven guy, and I think we'll get into more of the lead stuff in a second. So before we get into that, how you're running your business, because I think that is unique. That's why I wanted to have you on. What made you decide to finally go off on your own? Was it just environment? You saw a lot of people, and you kind of had that, I guess, maybe drive, or you're like, hey, I can do it, or you're just like, I've kind of capped out. Like, what was it?
Yeah, so I never said this on camera before.
Okay,
but I was at an event.
Okay.
And I was selling a program, whatever. And this guy looked at me in the face. He said, he said, man, why don't you start your own business? And I go, well, man, dude, like I'm going to make $650 this year. And he's like, he looked me dead in the eyes. He said, making $650,000 a year is not that hard. And I had nothing to do but agree with him. It was like a fucking smack in the face. And then I woke up to reality. I'm like, dude, he's right.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. I'm like, why am I making it so hard? But then after that, man, it was just like, I was just freaking, dude, every day I was just thinking about, I'm like, bro, like what is next? What is next? What is next? And I don't discourage anybody to get into sales. Like sales is like definitely an amazing thing. But there is a point if you have that potential inside you to go and reach for more.
Sure.
And I've always been that guy.
Sure.
And I was at my church doing some courses and things. And dude, I just had this massive realization that I'm going to start a business. And I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know what I was going to sell because I don't know marketing. I don't know margins. I don't know freaking
just your
anything.
Pure sales.
Dude, like all I know is sales, dude. I just know how to close deals. And my good friend was like, he just called. I was like, bro, I need to start a company, man. What do I do? He's like, you should do this space, recruiting. And we met on a Thursday. He showed me it. Took like 5 minutes, drew out an organizing board for me. Like basically like a chart of like owner, whatever, rep, etc. Yeah. And I looked at it and it made so much sense that I could not say no. And that was the moment. I was like, all right, done. I'm going to do it.
And then you dropped.
Sunday, I wrote out like the organizing board for myself. And then Monday I walked in, shook everybody's hand and started my business that day. Wow, so I just completely transitioned. It was like a start, change, stop, where I stopped what I was doing, changed, and then started again.
Yeah, it's interesting that what the business you started came from a mentor. Because my first business, I was like, I didn't care. I was like, I just want to make some money.
Yeah,
I didn't care. And my mentor said, well, you should start in fitness because you have a whole fitness career and you've been in shape for forever and all this stuff. And I said, I was like, okay, like I didn't care, And it's just funny how in the beginning you're really just trying to follow a proven model or like advice of someone who's where you want to be. And that's basically it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I want to get into now is more about your business model.
Yeah.
Cause a lot of listeners, they come here for this. So let's start with how you get leads and how you make sales. Cause I think that's the most unique part about your offer. Like I've obviously met a lot of people who are in the recruiting space, et cetera, but how you explain to me how you get your leads and how you do your offer, I thought was genius. And you're still doing it. And you're doing it at a pretty good amount of money per month. So walk everyone through essentially what you do is you recruit sales reps to businesses, but like tell everyone how you're, attracting these businesses right now. Cause you're mostly all organic from what I know.
Yeah.
And I think how you're doing it is like super unique.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. So man, where do I start?
I mean, just start by how you're attracting business owners. I think like the way you're reaching out is you're reaching out to organizations that train closers.
Yeah.
And then what you're doing is you say, hey, I can get your closers placed, which is part of their offer. So you're essentially piggybacking off their offer and they send you reps and then you find businesses and then you just send the businesses the reps, but you cut yourself out of the training of the sales rep. So just so everyone can, I'll try to give a quick explanation, just so everyone can understand in recruiting, you can do one of two things. You can either train the sales rep, right? In this industry, train the sales rep, and then you place the sales rep with the company and then you're job is basically make sure the sales rep is successful. The downside of that is if they suck, like it's uphill battle. The other side is you can find businesses who need sales reps. And then in this, it could be any position, but we're just talking strictly sales reps right now. And you can place the rep, but then again, if the rep's not good, the business owner is going to let them go very quickly. And so what Chris has done, I'll let you expound on it, is the way most people get sales by, they go in Facebook groups, they post organic content, they do outreach, they run ads, whatever. Like I've heard it all. What Chris does that I thought was super unique and I wanted you guys to hear is he basically found companies or organizations that train sales reps. And he said, hey, I'll help get your reps placed. So they go, oh, dude, that's amazing. Like, awesome. And he's like, I'll do it for free. Then what he then does is he makes relationships with business owners. He says, I'll find you top-notch reps. He gets sent sales reps. He picks basically which is the best reps, and then he sends those reps over to the businesses and gets paid for it. And I thought that was genius because, like I'm a paid ads guy and, I do content, all this other stuff, and it's a lot of work. Obviously, and I think eventually when you want to get bigger, you'll have to do more. But that essentially is your business right now. And what's the most money you've done in a month so far?
$45,922.
So he's done basically $50,000, and he's a one-man show with two man.
Yeah,
like you have one person.
I got one recruiter.
That's crazy. Like, and you're not like
that's collected. That's not revenue.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like you're not doing outreach. You're not. So most clients, it's like, how many DMs are you doing today? What are you doing on ads? Like Chris is like, yeah, like I don't do that shit. Like I just basically made this partnership, which was super unique. I haven't met anyone who's done that. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to expand on that, but that I for sure wanted people to understand because I thought that was super unique. And I think learning how to think is important. I'm curious, like, where did you come up with that idea?
Man, I came up with it because just like the Facebook group thing, my buddy was like, yo, you got to go to Facebook groups, right? And so I did a post online about me starting my recruiting company. By the way, at this time, I didn't know where I was going to get the companies. I didn't know where I was going to get sales reps. I didn't know anything. I just branded it, right? That I knew what I was doing. I've never interviewed anyone ever in my life.
Nice.
Okay. This is probably something I shouldn't say on camera, but I don't care.
It's good. It's like we all start from zero. And the thing is,
we'll be looking at this like 10 years from now
even when I got into consulting, I was one step ahead of people. Like when I first started, I just was one step ahead of people. But that's all it takes. But when someone's asking you for help or whatever, you want to start something, it's like you kind of have to take that leap of faith and plunge, and you don't always know the whole steps yet. So that's, dude, I think most people will relate.
Yeah, you just got to be willing to jump, not knowing if that parachute's going to open or not.
Yeah.
So I was starting to do Facebook groups, and I realized those Facebook groups were ass. Like they're completely trash. Everything is trash. It's scammy. It's ridiculous. So then one of my good friends,
and you were hitting up like business owner groups to get like business owners.
It was just sales rep groups. I tried doing the business owner group thing. That was also trash. A bunch of scams. The whole Facebook group thing, no disrespect. If it's public,
just been hit up for a while,
dude. Like it's very saturated. It's completely destroyed, in my opinion. If it's private, then probably good. But anyways, and I realized that like, dude, this just is not working. Like these reps are absolutely horrible, and. My good friend was like, yo, I have a sales training company, bro. He's like, bro, can you place my reps? And I was like, absolutely, I can. And so I started paying him for it. He was making money on the sales reps, and he was making money off me. And I was signing up clients at this time. So
what's crazy is you were paying him to place his reps.
Yeah, exactly. It made no sense, but it did make sense for me at that point because I just needed that relationship.
Yeah, of course.
I just want to pay, like, just like I paid you for that
the one-on-one.
Ended up in this, right? Yeah, it's all about, dude, I need the connection. I need the contact, right?
That's nice, bro.
So I hit the guy up. He sends me reps. I have like 4 companies that already signed up, paid me 5 Gs, 10 Gs. I don't have any reps yet. I'm like, dude, fuck, I need to figure this out. He sends me reps. I start paying him for it. Then I get another guy. Then I get another guy. Then I get another guy. And then at that point, I had so many people. I was like, okay, this makes no sense for me to pay these people when they actually need me and I need them. So why don't I just create a joint mentorship and we just collide. And so now exactly what I do, I just partnered up with another one the other day where he's going to send me a ton of reps. I mean, I think I have like 12 companies right now sending me reps. And I have my LinkedIn and I have my Instagram And I just opened school. So I'm going to open up my school community, $97 a month, just funnel people in, right?
For reps or business owners?
That's going to be for reps.
For reps, okay.
But that's for reps. That's just to get more reps into the community. And then I'm going to build a funnel to upsell all of those reps. And then I'm not going to guarantee placement.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure it says you only get placed if you're a proven sales rep, if you're actually good. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
Because it's brutal, dude.
Yeah, well,
it's brutal.
Yeah, because what we do, and yeah, you can't guarantee placements because you're going to get the worst salesperson and they're going to blame you. But what we did, because on the side, I don't do it the same way you do it, but on the side we have a small recruiting company.
Right, yeah.
It's one of my offers.
Yeah,
and we just guaranteed interviews.
That's
because interviews, it's like...
That's very smart.
You could get anyone in an interview. I mean, my goodness, like the dumbest person on earth can get an interview, but where you run into issues is placements because, if someone's really horrible, well, I didn't get placed. You definitely
or they get placed and then they leave after 2 weeks.
Right. And
that's the worst.
And so we say that to people. We'll go, look, we can get you as many interviews as possible. It's like dating. I mean, I can get any guy, to talk to 100 girls. It's just like the guy who's going to get more yeses is a better pick. Simple as that. Mm-hmm. So I think you definitely do that. In terms of you're attracting a lot of the sales reps that way. In terms of business owners, has it been just relationships and referrals?
Yeah, relationship, referrals, cold DMs. Like right now at this very moment, I just hired an appointment setter. Shout out to you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so he's sending out DMs right now as I'm here. So he's sending out DMs on my LinkedIn and Instagram.
You just get your numbers. So like, let's say he sends out 100 a day and you get 10 responses. It's like you close one person. Dude, I think the thing, I think the thing for you too that's nice is with that offer, as long as you can find owners who want it, it's pretty. I think it's pretty easy overall because you just say, look, you pay me, I'm going to get you a rep, and you probably have a replacement guarantee where it's like if they don't like it, it's a pretty easy sell. The hardest thing I found with that offer is just making sure the business owners actually need a sales rep, right?
Yeah, and they're set up for it.
Yeah.
They're set up for it. And that's another, it's actually so great you said that.
Yeah.
So I just, right before I came here, I was actually breaking down all my offers and I'm creating other offers to help businesses set up their companies to where they can set up and get a sales rep.
Yeah.
Because some of them have the revenue, but dude, if I put a sales rep in there, they'll fail.
Right, 100%.
So
yeah, it's one of two issues we would run into. Is number one is most businesses, not all, but I would say 90-something% of businesses, if they're not doing at least $100,000, they don't need a sales rep unless the owner this is the only caveat. The owner's like, yeah, I don't like sales, but then they just don't have a great business. I'm like, most of the CEOs that I know at least have some understanding of sales. You have to.
You got to.
And then the second one would be, to your point, they just don't have a good structure. Like they're very good doers, but they're not good leaders. So when they hire someone, like, okay, like here's the call, like take it. And that's about the end of the instruction or the management. So I like what you're doing. I think it's super brilliant. Obviously, when you scale or you want to like get bigger faster, depending on how fast you want to get there, I think you'll have to add in some more pieces. But I think to get to $50,000 a month, basically all through referrals and word of mouth and essentially free traffic, I mean, that's hard to do. I'll say that. I was doing $50,000 a month, but I was messaging until my fingers had arthritis. Like I actually had arthritis in my thumbs.
Damn, that's crazy.
I was working 12 hours a day. So the cool thing about you is I'm not saying you're not working, but in terms of just how you made that money, that's pretty remarkable because I think it's pretty low effort in terms of what it could have cost you. Like the amount of outreach you'd had it done or the messages or the calls and stuff like that. So.
And plus like the margins, man, like those margins, dude, they'll just eat you apart. If you have a lot of delivery on the back end, you got to pay VAs, you got to pay people to deliver. And then you're getting cut like 60% of your profit that you would make. Right. And so it's a good spot. I'm looking, I want to really hit 150 this month. Like I really want to do. I'm very far away from it, but I need to hit it. Like that's my only target right now. I need to, and that's not revenue, man. I need to collect that.
Yeah, it's a big jump. That's a big jump. But I mean, I like the sales background you have. And I think your energy's on point. Like I think you'll be successful because that's what it takes to win, man. You got to have a little bit of, I'll do whatever it takes. And you definitely have that. I mean, that's what's helped me. And whenever I get more complacent, I think even when I quote unquote struggle now, it's just complacency. I'm like, I don't really want to do that thing. And if you have a do whatever it takes attitude, you start coming up with ideas, or you go, oh, like this didn't work. Okay, like we don't have an option to lose. What else can I do? And then all of a sudden ideas start coming to you. So like I told you, for example, we went to this ClickFunnels event, and I haven't just been to an event in a while, and ad costs are higher. They're not as effective anymore. My team's like, hey, let's go to the event. We'll do this breakfast club thing. Let's see. I was like, all right, like, yeah, we'll go, right? And, I didn't know what was going to happen, but we closed $300,000 in 3 days. And it didn't even have a structure. It could have been more structured. I had a soft pitch. It was like, 2 minutes. And I would do Q&As for 3 to 5 hours, literally 3 to 5 hours. Yeah.
Wow.
And
that's freaking insane.
Yeah. But it's funny. Like that came out of, hey, things aren't like doing the best with ads right now. Let's give this a try. And I think sometimes when things are good, that's when you stop innovating because, oh yeah, things are good. We don't really need to innovate. This is working fine. So anyways, that's kudos to you, dude. I think the business model is great, and I think your mindset's on point. I think it'll be really successful. I mean, you've already been pretty successful, so that's amazing.
Thank you.
What's the average person look like that you help? Maybe talk from a sales rep side and a business owner side in case anyone's listening and they're like, hey, this is my guy.
Yeah. So a business owner is definitely a business owner that's doing well over $1 million a year.
Oh, wow. You're going really high.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I was going to say really high, $100,000 a month, give or take.
Yeah, okay. $100,000 a month. Yeah, $1 million a year is definitely a good.
I was like thinking a month. I'm like, whoa.
Man, those are real good companies.
Yeah.
I love staffing those ones. Man, those are good ones. About $1 million a year. Okay. And a structured, like a competent business owner that is doing stuff ethically. Like, I don't want to work with anybody that's doing any stupid stuff.
Sure.
Or they're posting, their business model is like just off what my purpose is.
Sure.
Okay. I'll just keep it very vague there, but I'm sure you're picking up what I'm putting down. Weird business practices and stuff out of my league, right?
Sure.
Don't want to mess with it. So as long as they're a good dude, they're competent and I have faith in them and they like are mentally there, then I'll work with them, I've had calls with like guys and, sure I could close them, but it's like, dude, this guy would just be an absolute freaking headache from the start.
Have you been more picky so far? Because whenever you start running ads, sometimes, in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, like I got to cover the ad costs. And so it makes it harder to be pickier.
Yeah.
So far, you like 50-50? You've been.
Yeah. I mean, what I typically run into is companies with lesser revenue and they really want a sales rep. And so I really, really dig to make sure that the business owner is committed enough to make things work.
Sure.
Because it starts with them. I can give them a sales rep, but then I have to make sure they're mentally prepared for it. And, I really sell them on the hard work part, because you get it, right? You've probably dealt with business owners where they're a little bit right here. They're maybe at the $600,000 mark or $700,000. They're like, man, I just want to get a sales rep and buy myself more time, right? It's kind of opposite, You're going to have to spend more time with the sales rep when you're running the business because you just hired them, right? It's kind of like opposite, So I really need to. I prepare those guys that are maybe doing $300,000 to $500,000 a year, and I really tell them like, "Hey, dude, just full transparency, bro. Like your rep that you're gonna get, he's not gonna be like some all-star guy.
Yeah.
Like he's just gonna be at that point, it's more so of just a cold caller. You need a cold caller to just pound. 18-year-old, 19, 20-year-old kid to just freaking pound the freaking phones.
Yeah, I think most business owners, they haven't hired before and they think, oh, when I start hiring, it gets easier or whatnot. And I don't think that's the case at all. I think it's harder. And usually the sales rep, I tell people, expect them to do 80% as good as you. So if you suck at sales, expect it to be even worse. Because ultimately they need direction. Even a sales guy who's seasoned, if he comes in and you don't give him any direction, obviously maybe you can help him with recruiting. But I think even once you stop the recruiting and the training you're helping, they'll just go right back into old habits.
Dude, it fails. If discipline's not in, man, the company shuts down.
Yeah, so I think the issue with most business owners is they're thinking, oh, I get a sales rep, things will be easier. It's like, you'll get some time back, but let's say you train hard for an hour a day. You still got to train hard for an hour a day. And then maybe over time it gets less. But
anyways, make sure he's not messing up.
Yeah, I just think people they don't understand that managing it's a whole process, and you really have to pick good talent, train good talent. You know, you got to have incentives. There's a whole structure, right? It's a relationship where there's got to be a benefit for them, and their goal fits within your goal so that they want to do what you want them to do. I think some business owners are like, yeah, like I'm going to pay him nothing and I'm going to give him really low commission. And I go, so why would he like want to work hard for you?
Right.
So anyways, that's interesting. That makes sense in terms of who you work with. Moving more over to the personal development side a little bit, because, you know, I think from a pretty young age, you put in a lot of work and you put yourself in a really good position to win. Are there any non-negotiables you have in terms of, I mean, it could be anything. Like, is there anything that you do every day? Or I wake up at 4 a.m. I plunge in ice baths and shit. Like, I don't care what it is. I'm just curious. Do you have anything like that?
I do, man. I got about 3 things. I got my goals. I write them down twice a day, non-negotiable. And those are like life goals.
Curious why you write them down instead of like you write them once and let's say you print it out or something and then you just read it. Is there a reason you write them down?
Yeah, the reason I write it down is just so I do it. You know, it puts it in front of me. I'm writing it, and it just creates an action for the first thing of the day. I'm talking, I wake up at 5:35 every morning. I'm talking the first thing I do when I wake up is I shut off my alarm on my phone, check notifications, click lock on my phone, walk over to my counter, sit down, and write my goals, dude. I'm like writing them down like this.
How many goals do you have? Do you have 3 or do you have like 20? I'm just curious how long this takes you.
Yeah, the goals takes about 5 minutes every morning. Okay. So I just
change? Does it change a little bit?
Vaguely, okay. Like sometimes. Once I'm pretty set on a goal, I keep writing the same goals down every single day. You know, like one of my goals is to have 35,000 real estate units. You know, another one of my goals is to have 35,000 employees.
Hardly any, dude. Right there.
Yeah, and I need
so far the most I've had is 100. So 35,000. That's a lot, bro.
It's a lot. Causes a lot of traction, a lot of purpose. Yeah. You know, and I want to shoot. My motto is I want to write down goals that are so big that it actually scares me to write them down because I'm forcing my belief system to think that it's possible.
Yeah, that's half the battle. You know, it took me a while to understand this, I think, but like as I would get into higher levels of mindset or whatnot, you know, I'm not super religious, but there's some verse that says we're creating, you know, God's image, etc. And I think one of the most godlike things we can do is create, right? We're creating our reality. Mm-hmm. And to your point, for anyone who's listening, the reason what he's doing is powerful is because when he writes those things down, when he gets in situations or he's making big decisions, those are the thoughts that come to his head to help him make the decision.
Yep.
Right. And I didn't used to think that. And so most humans go through life reacting meaning they hear something, they listen to a song, they go to the gym, some random person says something, and that influences their thoughts. They haven't decided what they want to believe. And the thing is, you can really believe anything. I mean, most of us are here and we don't really have substantial proof for a lot of stuff. I mean, some stuff, yeah, but
yeah.
I mean, you can be like, oh, this is the best way to live your life. This is the best way to get married. This is the best job. It's like, it's all bullshit. It's just made up. So I like that you're doing that because I do something similar. I don't write it down every morning. Maybe I should, but I have a copy and it's a paper and I'll read it morning and night. I also have it recorded. So I sometimes like when I'm driving, I'll have my headphones on. I'm listening to it as well.
That's so sick.
Yeah. But I think what I realized, I said, well, that's kind of stupid, but it still takes action. You can't just listen to those or write those things down. But the whole point is it helps you take the actions that relate to those goals and it helps you think about that. Right. And so it helps you kind of create that reality, so to speak, because if you want 35,000 employees, you're only going to make decisions, hopefully, that align with 35,000 employees. Right. And so I think a lot of times we're our own limitation of what we accomplish.
Yeah, man. And it definitely has a decision making on it. Like, because if you're out doing stuff and you feel like you're doing something that's not towards your goals, you're going to feel it inside you.
Right.
Like I feel that shit, dude. I fucking hate that feeling. Yeah. When I'm doing shit I know I shouldn't be doing, that shit pisses me off more than fucking anything on earth. Yeah. And I'm always sitting there, if I'm in a place I shouldn't be, I'm like, dude, what the fuck am I doing right now?
Yeah.
I should fucking work. What the fuck? This is not going to help me hit my goals. Yeah. Another one of my goals is to be an example of success. I want to be an example of success. I want to be great on all areas, not just money, but like have a beautiful kid, have 3 kids, have a wife, have a great family, like genuinely be just the best person I can absolutely be in all areas.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, I think regret stems from lack of effort. I don't think regret stems from lack of success. That's my experience. If I've tried my best, my example is Division I football, trying to go pro. So I got to Division I. I got hurt multiple times, multiple shoulder surgeries, but I went to all the practices, all the 2-day. I did everything. I mean, I hired all the coaches. I look back and I go, there's literally no one who did more than me. There, like, not a chance. Like, I actually would hang my hat on that. But I would play with guys who would go first round in the draft, but they were just, 6'8", 280, ran a 4.5. At my biggest, I was 4.30. Maybe I ran a 4.6. And yeah, I was 230, ran a 4.6. Yeah, but it's like compared, but still compared to some of these other guys, it's just not that impressive. You know, it's just not when you're playing against the best players in the world. So if let's say you're the best player on your football team, let's say you're the second best. There's 10 teams. Well, that puts you at number 20, hypothetically. In the state, right? So, anyways, as you get to higher levels, but when I looked back, when it ended, I remember looking back and thinking, was there anything else I could have done? And that's just a normal thought I think we have as humans. And I think the goal is just to look back and be like, hey, I did my best. And if you do your best, I think that's all we can really ask for. So I like your attitude with that, because to me, it's at least as I've gotten older, it's irrelevant if I hit the goal. It's very likely you'll hit it if you do all the things like you're saying you're going to do. But as long as you did your best, the funny thing is you can fail and you won't feel bad. People fail. Like, you can have someone who has a lot of success and still feels regret because they were like, oh man, but I could have done better. Right. And I think that's the thought.
Goals are too low.
Yeah. And I just think also their effort is not there.
Yeah.
There's a difference between doing your best and your actual best and then what most people are willing to do. So that's good to know.
Yeah.
Do you have is there anything you do to learn? Any mentors, any books, anything that you're religious about, or you're just like, hey, now this is a great way I learned that maybe people could pick up on?
Yeah. So my main guy that I learned from, his name is L. Ron Hubbard. So he has a ton of courses on admin technology is what it's called. It's literally set up to how to run an organization, how to handle life, how to handle relationships, marriage, all that stuff. I'm very open about it, right? Scientology.
Nice.
I'm very open about it. It has helped me out personally beyond belief.
Did you grow up in Scientology, or how did you get introduced to it?
No, so I grew up Catholic.
Interesting.
I went to 4 schools when I was younger.
Okay.
So I went public school, then I went Catholic school, public school, Catholic school, then back to public school.
Okay.
And then I graduated high school. Okay. Yeah. So 4 different schools. Great childhood, man. I knew a lot of people. Yeah. No, man, I found out about it back in 2018 when I was in Pennsylvania. And there's no church there, right? There's no center to go to like learn anything.
Sure.
So I just knew about it, and I was like, this seems pretty cool, see all the crazy stuff online. I watched all the documentaries about how bad it is, freaking how they like terrorize people, all that shit,
right.
And I was like, damn, that seems so crazy. There's no way that it's true. I'm like, if it's actually that crazy, how are they even still alive today?
Sure.
So I moved down here to Miami, and late 2021, I was about to get fired from the sales role that I was in. And I was on a run. So crazy, bro. I was on a run on this, the bridge. We're not in Sunny Isles, we're in Brickell, but in Sunny Isles, is the beautiful bridge. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. You see the freaking Collins Ave, dude. Oh my God, bro. It's the best bridge ever to run on. And dude, I was running, man, and I could not fail. I was screaming at the top of my lungs, I need to change, like on the top of the bridge. And my boy was walking at like 9 o'clock at night on the side of the road, and I picked him up. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm walking to the bank. Pick him up, go to the bank. He's like, yeah, man, I'm going to the Church of Scientology tomorrow. You want to come? I'm like, fuck it, dude. I got nothing to fucking lose. Fuck it. I've been screaming to myself, I need change. This is change.
Sure.
Showed up there, dude, did one course. I was like, bro, this is the information that I needed. Ran with it ever since, you know?
So, okay, explain that. We don't have to get too deep into the religious aspect, but explain, you're saying the church, when you show up, has courses and books for free that you can learn about anything? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, some are free, some cost money, right? There's introductory courses that are literally $50. Like the first course I did, $50. Changed my life forever. I'd do that course every single day.
What course was it?
It's called Formulas of Living. And that course, it goes over stats and graphs and what causes a down stat, how to handle it, what causes an up stat, how to continue an up stat, and how to keep the organization around you running successfully. So I didn't have a business. I was a salesperson, but I took that data.
Were these all around business, or was it like all kinds of subjects?
All kinds of subjects. Okay. The one I really just wanted to focus on was money, because all I cared about back then was just money.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
of course.
And you know, there's actually a chart that he created as well, and money is actually on the lowest. Duty is on the highest, right? So if you're operating on duty, you'll be able to create a bigger effect. If you're operating on money, you're doing it for there's not much purpose there if it's just money, because money is just an energy, and that's a whole nother topic we can jump into itself.
Yeah.
But dude, I did a course, and bro, it changed literally everything in my life.
Interesting.
And it's different from everybody, man. Not everybody has the same experience. Not everybody has big wake up calls like I did.
Sure.
But dude, it definitely helped me out, not only just on the business side, but personally with my family, like with my relationships with people, with my ethic level. Like, you know, very recently, my girlfriend and I of 2.5 years, we broke up, right?
Sorry to hear that.
Dude, down bad, right? It's like, you know, it was mutual. It was mutual, right?
Yeah.
And dude, the old me would be like, dude, I'm freaking slaying everything I see, right? But now, since I have so much data and I'm knowledgeable and I have a lot of like discipline installed inside me, I'm just focused on what's doing the best thing for myself and my family, because I want to be able to go back home to my family. And this is very common sense stuff. Like, it's not rocket science, but it means a lot to me because I need it there, or else I'm the kind of guy that if it's not there, I won't do it. And I need that like constant push, right? That thing that's going to freaking revitalize me. Not just the money, dude. The money is freaking whatever, you know? It's about what's inside you, man. Anyways, dude, it helped me out in a lot of areas, you know? That's a whole nother topic, but
I was going to say,
it definitely helped.
I've never heard that.
And it's not a church where you go there and pray, right? You can be a Catholic, you can be a Muslim, you can be a Jew. I know Jews that go there. I know people that go to church every Sunday that go to the Scientology church, and it's I think it's called like a non-dominational religion.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, non-denominational.
Where it's you can practice other religions and still take courses there, you know?
Interesting. Dude,
So it's pretty cool.
The interesting part to me is like, I grew up pretty religious like you, so something similar to Catholic, we'll just say that. And as I got older, you know, I would say I'm less religious now, but I've never heard that. Like I've heard a lot of stuff about Scientology, and you know, the thing is, the way I grew up, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Like maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Like, but if I don't do my own investigation, I don't take too much of it to heart. But I've never heard from anyone that they do that part. Maybe that's very interesting to me that you could go there and get a bunch of stuff, because I know at the church I went to, you couldn't do that. That's what's interesting to me, especially if, you know, it sounds like, at least based on what you're saying, it sounds logical, and I'm a pretty logical learner. You know, it's like 2 + 2 is 4. I'm like, yes, like I agree with that. So that's actually pretty interesting. I'm curious, what has it? Just as a random side note, has it affected how you practice religion or anything like that, or is it just literally kind of like, hey, the courses, or did you follow? I don't know if you were, you know, super Catholic or not, but did you switch, and then did you have a fallout with your family? I'm just curious because I grew up very religious.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. So, you know, I grew up very Catholic as well. And then, I mean, once I graduated high school, we just really didn't go to church at all.
Okay.
And I'm a very spiritual guy, right?
Sure.
You know, I very highly encourage people to go to church if that's your thing, right? At first, my parents, they were like, or my mom was like, okay, cool. Like, of course, she saw the bad stuff. I saw the bad stuff. And I'm very thankful to grow up in a very understandable family. And they were very happy about it. They're like, as long as you don't do anything stupid, like, we don't care. We love you. You know? And they're happy, right? They're happy. I'm happy. They encourage what I'm doing. Yeah. Of course, you know, there's always pushback for really anything, especially change, right?
Yeah, of course.
But, you know, the really good part about it too is that there's always an option for anybody and everybody. I didn't have a fallout with my family. I didn't freaking like cut anybody off because of it. Like, it's not like, oh man, I can't talk to this person.
That's good though.
That's
uncommon.
Right?
I would say that's uncommon because, you know, when some people, when they get very, you know, they have a certain way they view the world. If you don't see the way they see it, then they'll cut you out.
Right. Like, hey man, I'm not going to work with you because you're not a Scientologist. Or like, I'm not going to work with you because you're not Catholic. I can only work with Catholic people. It's like, bro, that literally makes no sense.
I think it turns people off. My opinion is that the way you actually get people to change, if you want them to think the way you think, is that you set an example to the point where they're like, wow, like there's something about this person. And then they actually look into it more. Mm-hmm. I don't think you try to change people by, you know, this is I think that's the opposite. It's the opposite of sales. It's like in sales, people still want to feel like it's their choice. So, you know, if I was trying to get someone to think the sky's green, I want to say, oh, you stupid idiot. You think the sky's blue? I just, you know, I'd ask stuff like, well, dude, like, let me ask you, like, have you ever looked, like, why do you think the sky's blue? Like, did you know everyone used to think the earth's flat? Like, you start trying to ask questions and to get them to think about it and then just show them by the way you're living. That's at least my opinion, how you convince people. I think
it's great point. Yeah.
I think how most people go about religion is crazy because all that does is turn people off.
Yeah.
You know, it just turns people off. They're like, yeah, I don't want to be religious because you guys are all psychos. And in the sense of, if I don't do what you say, then you disown me. I just don't think that's a great, and you can have those beliefs, but it's how you treat other people. It's just not going to help in terms of convincing them, you know?
Exactly. I mean, there's one motto that the church has, and it's to make the able more able.
Right.
So the duty here is man is basically good. People want to do good things. Like people on this earth want to do great things. They're generally good, even criminals. Mm-hmm. Deep down inside, they want to do the right thing. That's why they get caught, right? Because they cave themselves in and they're like, okay, hey, I should probably get caught now. And then they get caught, right? Because they're forcing, their discipline level is forcing them to get found out about, right? Or even if somebody does something wrong and whatever, the boyfriend cheats on the girlfriend, right? Boyfriend starts hating his girlfriend now for no reason, right? That's him realizing he did something wrong, you know? And so man's basically good. And that's really what it's about. And the motto is make the able more able. Like, just make good people better people. Yeah. No matter if you, whatever it is, dude, you don't even have to be working, dude. You can be unemployed, bro. As long as you want to do good things on this earth, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah. Well, dude, I'm super happy for you. I can't wait to see where you get. I think your attitude's great, and I like that. I mean, you basically moved out here on a whim by yourself, and you're like trying to make shit happen. And your attitude is like you seem very happy to me. So I don't know if it's fake or it's real, but
no, if it's real, bro. It's real.
Yeah, if it's fake, like keep it up. And if it's real, I got to get more on what you're on. If anyone wants to find you or work with you, like where's the best place they can go?
They can find me on Instagram, Chris Dietz, CEO, or findmestaffingsolutions.com, or you can go to my school.com/findmestaffing, or Find Me Staffing Solutions. That's my Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Nice.
My LinkedIn, Chris Dietz, right? So the one question you should ask me is, why do you work so hard?
Yeah, so why do you work so hard?
I work hard because I want to set the example for others to actually do something. You know? Like, I don't want to work hard to have nice things. I want to work hard to create effect.
That's good,
That's
man.
my biggest thing. Just like you were saying, man, with those cars and stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Like, bro, it's cool, but like, what after? What about after? I'm 26, dude. I got shit to do.
I think that's a noble cause. Mine.
Why do you work so hard?
I think mine's a little more selfish, to be honest. It's like, I want other people to win, but for me, it's more about proving something to myself than anything. I want to look back at my life, and I want to know that I did everything I could do to be the best I could be. And so to me, like, that's irrelevant. Like, if I help you, cool. And I think part of success is that I think the more people you help, like when I went to ClickFunnels, we had 100 people in my room in a couple of days. I was like, it wasn't planned, but like we made money. And I was like, I just kind of was like, had a, I don't know, aha moment. I was like, okay, help people, right? It just went back to like, I was there and I answered Q&As and that stuff. So I do think that's part of it, but I think I just want to prove something to myself and not have regrets. And I think the way you don't have regrets is you do your best. It really doesn't have anything to do with you. It more so has to do with myself. So that's a little bit more selfish probably, but I think I can get to the same place. But it's more about proving something to myself than helping all these people. Because a lot of times, the people who get places, I'm not surprised. Like, they're helping themselves, man.
You got to help yourself. Like, you got to help yourself first. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they wake up early. They ask questions. They do this. Like you're doing all the right stuff. So I'm not that surprised. And like, even you tell me your story, like, yeah, like I did this and then I went here and then I just started my. It's the common story of people who are successful. You're just doing, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's for me. I just don't want to have regrets, man. And like on the scooter, really huge, the cool thing is the scooter thing. I almost died, and they told me that. And,
it's crazy.
And
man. I sat 5 a.m, one thing, bro, dude, just bang,
so stupid.
One freaking thing.
Yeah, but the cool part is I sat there and I thought, if I had died, honestly, I wouldn't have had regrets. Is there stuff that I could have done better? Have I made mistakes? Of course.
Right.
But I honestly have tried my best and I've tried to do the right things. So things that I messed up on, I don't have regrets in the sense of, yes, I regret maybe making a bad decision, but it's like at the time I thought it was the right decision or I made the best decision with the information I had. So yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting moment, but yeah, overall, I guess in a good way, I could say I didn't have regrets. I didn't have things, man, I wish I had said this. I wish I had done that. I kind of felt like, yeah, my family would be pretty proud of what I accomplished and I'd be proud. And, it sucks that I'm dead, but it is what it is, and that day will come, right? Sooner or later. So
that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really good, man.
Well, dude, thanks for being on the pod. We'll see you next time, man.
You as well, Tanner.
Okay.